Hi again, the Aerial Flight Advisory here, and now it's time to talk about manual combat. As you can see, the Ardent Mages got a little bit too close to my territory while I was playing as the Wild Walkers, and, well, their territory is going to be mine soon. So first step was I laid siege to the city. Siege does a couple things. One, if they have any resource extractors in the region, which, yes they do, they have the titanium, that's not going to produce anything. And any outside buildings like say that extractor and that village are not going to provide vision. Units inside the city can't leave the city grounds, which are these tiles here, and any units outside cannot be added to the city. Also, if a battle occurred outside the city, it can't help, but any armies outside the city can help defend it if I chose to attack it, which I will in a little bit. The most important thing with siege are these defense points here. Once that reaches 0 and I'm still sieging, any units inside the city or standing on a city tile will start losing their health until they lose all of their health. And unless I wait for that to happen, those city points will be added to the unit's health points, which I'll show you in a little bit. So I'm thinking I'd like to attack. Normally I would choose the army with a hero in it, but I don't have one, so I'm just going to choose the largest, which is this one here. Before I do so, if you just hold right click, you'll get an idea of what the battle map looks like. And the colored tiles indicate the starting area which you'd be able to move around in. Since I am at war with purple here, orange isn't going to be pulled in even though they're in the area, but their other city, Utheran, is going to be pulled into the fray. And if you say didn't want that to happen, you can move around the armies, choose another one, you'll see the shape of the potential battle map will change. I am going to stick with the larger army though, so let's go ahead and attack. Now, little things going on this screen here. This must be the stuff that's in Utheran, and this must be the stuff that's in the city I'm attacking. And here's all my stuff here. Now, if I didn't want one of these armies to attack, say there was a settler sum in here, or I just didn't want that militia to be involved, I can uncheck it. Now he's not going to come in. I can recheck if I do want him to be involved though. You have to click this top bar for that. If you want to switch around the order that you get the reinforcements, because I kind of want Panther Warriors first, instead of Red Bear because one of their units is damaged. They have the more powerful units though. Anyway, click in the darkened spot here and then go down here, click up or down, that moves it around. I think I'm actually going to stick with Red Bear Warriors because they have the more powerful units. They have some glass steel gear, I'll talk about that in a little bit as well. This style just gives you an idea of how easy it is going to be for you to win the battle. The AI isn't always correct about that kind of thing. Down here, just a general strategy that your units will hold when you're not giving them any direct orders of your own. And this down here is easy. Auto and spectator is pretty much the same thing, but with spectator you get to watch it. But we're going to be talking about manual battle, so let's keep it at that, and let's go. Now I have some melee units in my army, these dredges. They're from the Delver's Minor faction. They'll be helping keep any Ardent Mage units away from my Takari Rangers, which I talked about in an earlier video. They have really long range, they're really good at just attacking from a distance. If you just had the Rangers, you'd be able to move them around to prevent them from being attacked before they do their own attacks. They also get a bonus from being inside forest tiles, so if I can keep them inside anything that has a tree on it, all the more the better. And they'll get a morale boost from being inside the city. That's what that circular icon is there, that measures morale. Right now it's not showing anything because we just started the battle. Other circles that would appear here show any kind of buffs they get from the terrain. There are high ground bonuses, which get stronger during the winter time, and there's also bonuses defensive usually for being inside a forest. So right now at the start of the battle you can just move your units around. I mostly want to keep these pillars clear right now. These pillars, they have their own there, show reinforcement spots. Each turn of a battle you'll get one unit for each one of those that's still clear if you still have stuff in the background, and so will they. So a good strategy is to make sure yours are clear so they can't overwhelm you, and make sure theirs are not clear so you can overwhelm them. So, gonna right click, move these guys around. Moving these guys back. Again, want to keep the pillar clear. Now, that's the only one that's in the field because that's the only one that was in their army to start out with. Same why I only have 6 units to start out with. The units that are reinforcing will come in later. That should be acceptable. Everything's within 4 tiles. And this is also why you choose your targets manually in manual combat, because sometimes the computer will be doing stupid things like that. I mostly just want to go straight forward there. These back here are just militia, not too concerned. On a similar note, your militia are not really going to be too helpful. Now these guys, they can probably attack from there. Well, actually, no, they can't. But I do want them to move and then attack. So I'm going to click there, then hit Control, right click. Now they're going to move and then attack. Speaking of attacking first, up here is the order that the units will attack based on their initiative stat. And down here is whether that attack will be successful. Whether or not the attack will be successful is determined by the attack stat versus the target's defense stat. And then the damage stat indicates how much damage you'll likely do once the attack hits. Speed is just how many tiles the unit can move during one turn on the field. And life is pretty self-explanatory. There's a whole bunch of other stuff here too, various bonuses that you get from items, various things each specific unit can do, like the Inekwa Wing can do the turn into an egg thing I mentioned before. There's way too many to list, so it's a good one to just mouse over each one and get a little tooltip. It'll tell you each and everything. So hit attack. The computer's going to do its thing based on the orders I gave it before. There's a city defense I mentioned before, kind of hard to read because they're purple, but you'll see that the militia still have a little tire icon. You'll deplete that first before you get to their health. And there won't be any overflow from it either, as in say they only had 45 city defense left but I did 50 damage. The extra 5 is just going to be like it never existed, it won't go towards their health. So, wimpy battle here. They're got another Inekwa Wing. It doesn't always display the health correctly when they first warp into the field if they do have the city buff thing. I'm just gonna let the computer do its thing right now. I'm not too concerned about what's going on with the tactics. I was hoping for a trickier battle actually, but even though the Ardent Mages, according to those graphs in the Empire screen, have a much more powerful military, they must have it mostly busy elsewhere. So, the AI is not the most smartest at tactics, but right now this will suffice. That means that these guys are in range of that particular Inekwa Wing, and they really do hurt, but I should be able to take that down with my melee dredge units in a turn or two. And I'm really not worried about the militia at all. They're mostly just going to be there and annoying and take a lot of hits to kill. Normally I would have let the city siege a little bit longer before I attacked, but I want to show the effect of what happens when there's the other city getting pulled into the fray as well. So I'm attacking the egg. This means the Inekwa Wing's not going to respawn in 3 turns like it otherwise normally would. Later on, next turn, I think I'm going to want to move some of these guys back. Because right now, they're a little bit too close for comfort. Even if the militia are wimpy, I don't want them surrounded. Because they start losing morale if they're surrounded by enemies. You can see that now, these circles actually are showing stats. It goes higher if you're in a city tile, a friendly city tile I mean. And lower if you're not surrounded by friends or surrounded by enemies instead. It especially affects the range units. So militia's attacking militia there, so let's see. I'm going to move these guys back, but I do still want them to attack, so control click. And these guys are a bit close too, so move him behind the melee units. Also attack that guy. These guys should be just fine for now, they're already in the back. I am blocking my reinforcement pillars, but that's okay. I still have one unit in reserve, that's what the number in parentheses means. But that one unit is not going to make that big of a difference at this point, because I outnumbered them, like 4 to 1. But that's the importance of keeping those pillars clear so you can get your units on the field and surround them. Basically, whoever gets a surround on the enemy first is the one that's most likely going to win. You can also use the terrain to your advantage sometimes. Not only do you sometimes get the attack bonuses from a high terrain, but sometimes, say I attacked over in this lake area, I could have kept all my ranged units on this side of the lake and pelted them from afar, and only the Inekwa wings would have been able to cross it because they're flying units. That's another good reason for holding right click before you go into battle, because that'll give you an idea what kind of playing field you're going up against. And as you saw before when I was going around the city, the angle that you're doing it at will determine the shape of the map. And that can make or break you in a battle, so it's a good idea to take a look at that first. So battles go for 6 turns, this probably won't even last that long. Kill these guys in one more hit, which will be these guys here, and yep, it'll give me a battle summary, and then some more damage units, but nothing would die, and now a city is mine. Even though I killed all the units in that city as well, I didn't take it yet because I was only really attacking that one. Now I can move my units into position to go after this one next. And if I was close enough I would be able to siege it, but I wouldn't be able to attack that because you can only attack once per turn. Now let's talk about what I have these guys equipped with. Most notable are my rangers, because they have glass steel bows, tier 2 armor, some nice boots, and some great accessories. Now regarding what does what, iron and dust tier items, which you get by just leveling up in the tech tree, are good enough. They're pretty good for just at least your armor, and you've got to have something no matter what. As far as what you're doing for anything made from a strategic resource, that depends on how much of that you have. Also what kind of bonuses that you're going for. Titanium is better attack and damage, the offensive stats, than anything else. It's comparable to dust equipment actually. Glass steel is weaker, but it has the best initiative in the entire game. So it's usually a good idea to get glass steel weapons, or at least that glass steel ring. So you attack first all the time, especially if you have ranged units like I do. Next would be the tier 2 strategics. Adamantium gives extra defense, while Palladium gives extra initiative with boosted attack and damage as well, but the initiative isn't nearly as good as glass steel. Then the tier 3s, Meteorite has the best defense, and Hyperium has the best attack and damage. But those we won't have for some time, and honestly I've gotten entire games even on impossible and endless difficulty with just glass steel gear because it's so good. I'd eventually upgrade the armor. I don't usually do that early on for strategic resources though because it's so expensive, but I will get that ring, and I will get the weapon. As far as two-handed or the one-handed plus shield combos go, the stats work out to be pretty similar and the costs work out to be pretty similar too, resource-wise. Sometimes I do like to have the shield though instead of a two-handed weapon unless I know my units are not going to get hit like these guys here, or gals I should say, because that block bonus it gets can save your butt. Regarding some of the other stuff like the talismans and such, I usually go with the iron talismans because they boost my movement speed. I also get another slight initiative boost from that too, and that's important for settling really quickly, and personally I like that throughout the entire game because sometimes late game you just need to be able to cross a map extremely quickly, and those will help with that. One thing I should point out real quick though, That's a bit weird. When you get the upgrade, you actually have to take the iron one that you already have equipped off, and then put the other one on. See, for some reason the tier 2 talisman, even though it's available, is not selected in the list anymore, so I have to do that manually. Nope, nothing changed, so can just exit. Dredge are melee units. I didn't actually bother equipping them with any glass steel or anything else yet, but I think I'd probably rather equip them with the titanium gear. Because they're going to just mainly do damage, I don't really need them to attack first, just basically sit in the way of my archers. And if I can position them before the battle, that'll be plenty good enough. Anyway, thanks for watching. Next tutorial will be on trade routes and diplomacy.